All right, welcome to the GiveOTube. Tonight I'm going to show you a little bit about how to saute onions. Now this is really critical if you want like onions to go with like a steak or something like that. I'm going to cook my onions tonight to go with a steak. So the secret to this is to not overcook the onions when you saute them. So you still want the onions to be have a little, like almost like a little crisp to it, but it's just kind of soft. And then once you like, you can almost pinch it with your fingers and still kind of be a little soft, but still have a little bit of like crunch to it. So here's
All right, my favorite type of onion for sauteing is just the plain small yellow onions. These are not big, but they're not the sweet onions, just the regular old yellow onions. Bought these in a pack of 6. But you know, the bagged onions or whatever, you can buy them singly. These are the best onions in my opinion for eating with a steak. Okay, so I've peeled the onions. I've cut, as you can see, I've cut the end off and then I've peeled it. I've left this end intact here, the kind with like the little end of the onion with the kind of holds it all together. The root, I guess, would be of the onion. Leave that in place. This has a little spot on it. I'm going to take care of that when I'm slicing it. I didn't want to waste any of that onion, but you see there, that's how I do it. Then I'm going to slice it into rings. I'll do that in a second here. You want to do a thin slice of the ring. So you don't want to make it thick. You want it to be really thin. You can get a nice sharp knife. Do thin slices. I'd say about a millimeter or 2. But you want it to be nice and thin. You don't want those thick slices. All right, so now I have my onions cut up. As you can see, they're nice, even slices in nice little ringlets. I highly recommend the ringlets and not cutting them in half or in strips. This just makes them really good, especially when they're on a steak. I actually like to put them on hot dogs too. A little mustard and some of these seasoned onions. Good stuff. All right, so I highly recommend using butter instead of olive oil. I know a lot of people say they like to saute their onions in olive oil, but I think the olive oil makes them too heavy. The butter makes them a little lighter, and they're not so saturated with that heavy oil. So I turn my heat on kind of like a medium high. I'm gonna let the butter melt a little bit first, and I'm gonna make sure the pan's nice and coated before I put the onions in there. Butter is about melted. I'm going to start putting my onions in here. All right, so got my onions in here. Got all the little bits and pieces. Get all that butter and kind of like make sure you kind of stir them up a little bit. Get each of the onion rings buttered up nice. Oh, I'm starting to spill them, so let me...
How dare you?
Yeah, how dare me. My daughter just walked by. Thank you for the commentary. Now, it's real important to go ahead and season them. I like to use Nature's seasoning. Nature's Seasons, it's a really good seasoning. Depending on what you're doing, salt and pepper can be good too. But you need a little seasoning in there to kind of give those onions a little flavor. When I'm cooking steak, I like to put that Nature's seasoning on there. That flavor kind of goes really nice with the steaks. All right, so I still got them sauteing pretty good. And want to keep a close eye, keep them stirred up really good, because one thing this does is it allows you to see how done the onions are. You don't want to just leave them there. You don't want them to burn. You want them to kind of keep them nice and moving around there, and you can see how flexible they get. They're starting to get a little flexible here. See that? So they're still not quite the way I like them yet, so I just need to cook them a little longer. All right, so see, they're getting nice. They're getting near done now. You can see how the rings are not holding their shape as much as they were before. That's why I can kind of tell I'm getting very close to them being done. They're kind of trying to curl over when I kind of put the spatula over a little bit. Right? You definitely don't want to overcook them. especially if you're going to heat them back up before you put your steak on there. You can always cook them a little more. This is, if I'm gonna have these pre-done prior to cooking my steak, this is probably where I'd stop. Okay, so you can see, then you can heat them up a little bit more right before your steak's done. Throw them on top of your steak, maybe with some sauteed mushrooms. Oh my goodness, that's some good stuff. I think my girls are laughing at my commentary. All right, so we are right here. I think I'm going to stop them right here. I think this is about perfect. All right, I'm going to take them off the heat, transfer them over to the other burner, and I'm going to show you why these things are so. All right, here's a couple of the onion rings I have out. And I kind of want to show you the texture of it. You can kind of see they're starting to get a little clear, and they're really nice and soft. They're not stiff anymore like they used to be. But you can take your finger, and you can kind of pinch them like that, and it'll be like a nice soft, and a little firm. But when you bite into them with your teeth like that, they kind of just release all their flavor in your mouth, and they kind of have a little bit of a crunch to them, and that kind of just sets everything off in your mouth, and it's just so good. So I highly recommend you trying sauteing your onions like this. Do not overcook them. One thing that I can't stand is to see sauteed onions sitting in a bowl just soaked and drenched in olive oil, and they've just ruined the onion, and they've ruined the flavor. There's actually no flavor left of the onion. So please give this a try and let me know how you like it.